times does Paul mention the word rejoice or joy or any derivative of said word? I'm not actually sure derivative is the right word, but you know what I mean. Okay, joy, rejoice. How many times does he mention it? Just have a clock going in there just to see. Secondly, don't start cribbing and reading it already. I know what you're doing. Secondly, can you figure, this is going a bit deeper, can you listen, where's Paul writing from? He's writing a letter. Can you get where he's writing it from? Thirdly, I know we're on A-level stuff now. What is Paul's reason for writing? Okay, what's Paul's reason for writing? Joy, rejoice, how many times does it come up? 2, where's he writing from? 3, if you can really get it, what's his what did I say? Reason. What's his reason for living? What's his reason for living? Okay, Sandra, go for it, mate.
Good morning. Today's lesson is from Philippians chapter 1, verse 12 to 26. I want you to know, beloved, that what has happened to me has actually helped to spread the gospel, so that it has become known throughout the whole imperial guard, and to everyone else that my imprisonment is for Christ, and most of the brothers and sisters, having been made confident in the Lord by my imprisonment, dare to speak the word with greater boldness and without fear. Some proclaim Christ from envy and rivalry, but others from goodwill. These proclaim Christ out of love, knowing that I have been put here for the defense of the gospel. The others proclaim Christ out of selfish ambition, not sincerely, but intending to increase my suffering in my imprisonment. What does it matter? Just this, that Christ is proclaimed in every way, whether out of false motives or true, and in that I rejoice. Yes, and I will continue to rejoice, for I know that through your prayers and the help of the Spirit of Jesus Christ, this will result in my deliverance. It is my eager expectation and hope that I will not be put to shame in any way, but that by my speaking with all boldness, Christ will be exalted now, as always, in my body, whether by life or by death. For to me, living is Christ and dying is gain. If I am to live in the flesh, that means fruitful labor for me, and I do not know which I prefer. I am hard-pressed between the two. My desire is to depart and be with Christ, for that is far better. But to remain in the flesh is more necessary for you. Since I am convinced of this, I know that I will remain and continue with all of you for your progress and joy in faith, so that I may share abundantly in your boasting in Christ Jesus when I come to you again. Amen.
Amen. Brilliant. Thank you, Sandra. So how many times did Paul mention the word rejoice or something of the sort? Anyone get that? Yeah. 4 we got in the front here. I think it was 3, but I'll go with 4. It's basically, and did anyone get where he was writing the letter from? Yeah. In prison. So he's talking about joy, but he's writing from prison. He's talking about joy, but he's writing from prison. How can he be joyful in such a place? How can he be joyful in such a place? I don't know what place you've come from today. I don't mean physically, I mean emotionally. How can we be full of joy in our lives, whatever's going on? How can these 2 beautiful children who are baptized today, as they grow up, be taught how to be full of joy no matter what is going on? When we talk about joy, you're not talking about that inane grin that just winds people up as you go round through life. Talking about an inner grin, an inner smile that just lifts the people around you. How do we live like that? Well, Paul is able to do that, the guy who wrote that letter, and he teaches us that we can be full of joy if we see the bigger picture. Look, we're going to have a little game now. I think the sun's come out just in time to spoil it, but we'll see. Can we have the next slide? Okay, here we go. So this is for you guys on this side. What is that a picture of? Can you see the bigger picture? Okay, here we go. Hang on, I was pointing down here. What do you think? A sunflower. Let's see. Brilliant. 1-0 to you guys. Right, let's have the next one. You see the bigger picture. Who is that? This side. Go home, the lot of you. If you don't know it, go home, the lot of you. Anyone? Anyone? Come on, football manager. Yes. Jurgen Klopp. Come on. There we go. Liverpool manager. I can't believe any of you didn't go that. Oh, okay, 1-1. Saved. Saved by the Liverpool supporter halfway back. Okay, next one. Who's that? Okay, I'm coming to the back this time. You don't need to shout out. Who was it who shouted out last time? Anyone at the back? No. Who? Jess Ennis. Now, guys, do you think they get the point for that? Yeah. Jessica Ennis-Hill. All right, saved. Saved at the end. What's that? 2-1 to you. Okay, let's see if you can get the bigger picture of this next one. Oh, yeah. One for the kids. Well, we got one over there, one at the back there. Okay, so if any child wants to shout it out after 3. 1, 2, 3. I didn't understand a word of that. What was that? Okay, let's see the next one. Let's see the next picture. The Jet Set. The Go Jetters. Is that what you said? Okay, the Go Jetters. Brilliant. That's 2-2, I think. Well done. Let's see. I think we've got one more each. Let's go this side. Who's that? That's a tough one. Unless you're about my age. Come on. It was the best cartoon when I was a kid. Anyone? People are scratching their heads. Bonus point over on this side. Can you get it? Can you steal it? Yes. Who? He-Man? No. Battle of the Planets. Battle of the Planets. Let's see. No, it's actually called Battle of the Planets. They were G-Force, but it's called Battle of the Planets. They've stolen it. It's 3-2 to them. Can you win it with this one? Can you win it with this one? Let's go next one. What's that? Daffodil. Brilliant. 4-2 winners over this side. Well done. Seeing the bigger picture. Seeing the bigger picture. Paul was joyful, yet he was... flick on a few slides, please, guys. And the next one. So he was in prison, but he was full of joy because he saw the bigger picture. It wasn't all about him. Yes, he was in prison, but did you hear that he knew that his imprisonment meant that the guards who guarded him were hearing about Jesus. He was in prison, in a prison cell, chained up, but he was excited because those around him were hearing about Jesus. He was in prison, but he was hearing that he was being dissed. He was being put down by other disciples of Christ. But those disciples of Christ were preaching about Jesus, so Paul was still full of joy. You see, Paul saw the bigger picture. Paul saw the bigger picture, and the bigger picture was Jesus. And as we've baptized these lovely children this morning, as they grow up, if they're to be full of joy, the challenge is to see the bigger picture. The bigger picture, which has Jesus smack bang in the middle of it. That's what our reading this morning teaches us. That in the nitty-gritty of life, in the highs and lows of life, to lift our eyes off ourselves and onto Jesus brings a joy and a freedom that nothing else can give. So how can we be joyful? We see the bigger picture. So we got that Paul was writing from prison. Did anyone hear what Paul's reason for living was as that reading came? Did anyone hear? It was towards the end. Sorry? Do you hear what he said? He said this in his letter. For me to live is... Let me get it straight for you. For to me, living is Christ and dying is gain. Paul was joyful because he was so convinced that his future was sorted out, which meant his past, his present was one of peace. He could peacefully and truthfully say, look, if I die in here, that's great because I'm going to be in heaven with Christ. But if I don't die, that's great also because I can talk about Jesus here on earth. I knew someone in Cambridge when I was studying to be a vicar up there who went to the doctors, and he tells this story in his little book that he's written about it. And the doctor told him that he had terminal cancer and that he would die in 6 months. And there was nothing they could do. And the man has written in his little book, "My heart leapt when I heard those words, because it meant I could be with my Jesus." Now, I don't know about you. I don't think at the moment I could write that. But his faith inspires me. And that's the sort of faith that Paul was talking about here. To know joy, to be joyful, is to have an answer to the bigger questions of life. Paul had those answers, and he knew the answers were found in Jesus. The answer to his future, the answer about his past, the answer about his present, were all to be found in Jesus. Jesus, the one he knew who had died for him on the cross, who hadn't stayed dead but had risen from the dead, that many had seen and given testimony to. Not because of some weird thing, but something called love. That God so loved the world that he sent his only Son, that those who believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Paul had got the answers to the big questions of life, so nothing could face him, so that joy would fill him. And those answers were Jesus. Look, let's do quiz round 2. Can we flick that next slide up? Can you do it? Just flick them all up, guys. Yeah, keep going. I don't know. I mean, anyone want to have a go? No? Anyone have a go? It's a rhetorical question, not expecting anyone. But big questions of life, aren't they? You know, I hope you can go from here thinking about those, asking yourselves about them. Because let me just, you may think I'm crazy, but I reckon if you've got a good answer for all of those, that inner grin will come out of you. That inner joy will come out of you. And further, let me leave you with the challenge that I think Jesus is the answer to those questions where you'll find the most joy and the most meaning in life. Amen. We're going to sing. It's an old hymn. Hopefully some of you will know it, that talks about the greatness of God and what he's done in Jesus. How Jesus can help us answer those big questions of life. Let's stand to sing How Great Thou Art.